delightful Roger. Say hi, Roger. You're this way.
Hi, Roger. I'm this way.
All right. Well, usually I start this off with a question of how do I know you? But I cannot lie. This is not only the first time that we have talked just one on one. I think this might be the first time that we have talked on Discord ever that is not
Yeah,
playing in the game. So,
yeah.
I guess the better question is, how do you know our lovely DM, the one, the only, the one tasty pickle?
So Wes moved to my hometown, and we met through mutual nerddom. And one day, I was sitting at my house, and they said, "Hey, can I bring a friend? He's really into D&D, and he wants to try to find a D&D group around here." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And next thing I knew, this giant was in my house, and we've been friends ever since.
That's a weird shared mutual experience. One day, all of a sudden, there was just a giant in my house too. So, you guys have known each other for how long?
So I think it's getting close to a decade. Heather and I were living at this specific house, and I think that was 8 or so years ago.
Yeah, I
So it's
know.
getting pretty close to a decade.
Yeah, yeah. So, when we started playing D&D, we were playing with only 3 players. I don't even know if you know this, Roger. Way back
I
when,
don't.
the original D&D crew was me, Mal, Gabby, and Wes was our DM. And Wes had always said, "This is a game where we're gonna add more people. This is something I love to do, and we're gonna add on people." And from, like, day 1, he was like, "You know who'd be really fun to have at our table? Roger." And that is how I got to know you, Roger, was just simply him going, "Do you know who's one of the best people to play at the table with? Roger." And so I just heard your name of being good at D&D, for a very, very long time. And then, we started adding people on, and then when it came to the new season, it came back up because he's like, "I have Chris, I love playing with Chris, and now I need my Roger." And I have to say, now having played, what now, 3 episodes with each other, easy. I saw it from day 1. I was like, "I love playing with Roger. You're a
I
fabulous
appreciate that.
D&D player, just so you know."
Thank you.
So how long have
I
you been playing?
I have been playing since my wife and I got together. She got me
Oh.
started. Me and her were hanging out, and she said, "Look, I'm about to go hang out in some dude's basement and probably get drunk with like 5 other dudes. You can either come with me and protect me, or you can just leave that as it were." I was like, "Well, what are you guys doing?" She said, "Oh, we're gonna play D&D," and I was like, "Well, I don't have to worry about your I don't have to worry about you being seduced by anyone at the table, because back then I thought that everybody who played D&D was big nerds,
Right.
neckbeards, right? And then she was like, "Okay, look. First of all, this game's awesome, and you're an idiot. Do you want to come, or do you want to stay here and be lame?" And I was like, "Screw it. Let's go. I'll give it a shot." I believe my first words were, "I'm a nerd, but I'm not that big of a nerd yet."
I think I
Boy,
had the same
howdy!
reaction. Yeah.
Oh my God, was I wrong? I'm exactly that kind of nerd. 110. This has been my jam. Absolutely, I've got a D&D themed
Yeah, can we
sleeve
can we please
now.
show off the tattoos? I got a glimpse before we started recording, but that's the first time I'd ever gotten to see them.
Yeah, I got this year. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So we've
Let's see them. Beautiful.
got a beholder up at the top. I love this. This turned out so good. His teeth and everything were perfect. I like that old school kind of metalhead album cover art style. And that is exactly what he did here. He did just a phenomenal job.
It's
So
incredible.
beholder, big sick rays, love that. Right here, we've got a mimic in the bend of my arm, so that way he can chew on people.
That's so cool.
And his tongue comes out over here. This is a dragon right here, and
Beautiful.
then the lich, which is one of my favorite characters. They're smart and they know how to do what they do, and
Mhm.
it always makes their engagements like if you piss one of these guys off, he's not just going to get you back. He's going to haunt your family line. I love that. I love a smart baddie. And this is a demon, which is another one of my favorites.
So cool.
And
Your artist did such an
mind flare.
incredible job.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job.
Oh,
I should probably plug him. Like, fuck it. Can I
yeah.
plug him? Is that
Go.
okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, it's the Murder Art Collective in Lexington, Kentucky. He did a wonderful job. His name is Face Tats McGee on Instagram. Look him up. Really cool guy. I had a great time talking with him. He's very opinionated, and he likes to bullshit. So like, don't take him too seriously. But he's a good time. He's a good dude, and he does phenomenal work. I'm in love with this tattoo.
Incredible work, absolutely fabulous. Like, I love that not only is it such a cool, but, like, it's all on theme, it's all on brand, and that green light going through it just ties it all
Yeah.
together in such a fabulous way.
Well, I told
Also,
him, I said, you know those lion tattoos where just the eyes are blue? And he said, yeah, because every tattoo
every
artist hates those guys.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I want to do something similar to that, but not that. And I don't
Mhm.
want the three crosses either. He said, oh, thank God. And I was like, what I want is a Dungeons and Dragons themed tattoo with all of my favorite monsters on it. He said, I am 100% in. Let's do this. And I knew I'd gotten the right guy.
Yes, because if you have somebody who hesitates, then they're not the right tattoo artist for you, because
Yeah,
you need somebody
yeah,
who's inspired
100%.
by the work. Also, I was because I never get to talk to you when it's just, like, us talking, it looks like you have some really cool tchotchkes back there.
Oh
Are
yeah,
you
I've
a
got.
collectibles person?
I'm a nerd, just generally a nerd. Uh, so
Aren't we all?
this right here is Alduin from Skyrim.
Oh,
These are all miniatures that I have printed and painted from previous campaigns, Dungeons Dragons campaigns. I do 3D printing. This thing behind me is a 3D printer cabinet.
I
So if
didn't
I
know
open
that
that up,
about you. That's
yeah,
so cool.
it's got like a housing unit, so that way the fumes don't get out. I use resin printing, so it can get kind of stinky.
Yeah.
Um, Up here, we've got the Drist Do'Urden series. So the Legend of Drist books. I've got like,
Wes is obsessed with those books.
I think that I'm missing one. I think
Wow.
no, I've got them all. I've got them all now. I bought it this year. So I've got the whole
Congratulations.
30 some odd book collection. Um,
Wow.
Black Label Society. That is also Black Label Society. Those are my guitars and or lightsabers. Don't judge me.
Uh, okay, I'm so glad to know that our houses look the same, because I have a green
Yeah.
screen on right now, or you would be able to see that Wes's tchotchkes are all on that side, and it's all of his anime figurines and all of that. All mine are downstairs, or on my desk. I love a good. I'm a fidgeter, so anything. Oh, this is definitely not going to show up on my green screen, but
That is
I have
adorable.
infinite things to touch, to twirl, to do all of that, and they're all nerd in different nerddoms.
I love it.
So if you ever see me in panic, it's usually me trying to grab one of these to like pull on its little arms and a plea for help during our games.
Um, yeah, I've got a ton of different. I call myself a collector of hobbies. So like I've got a ton of them. I play the guitar, ukulele, mandolin, bass. I'm working on the violin now. I'm awful at it. It's awesome.
So you
Uh,
and Wes are a full band between the two of you. Is
well,
that what
he
you
is
guys
so
used
much
to do?
better than me. He's so much better than me. Like he's so good. It makes me mad. Like I heard him just goofing around the other day, and he was doing better than I like trying. I can't play as well as he can, and he
He's
was just
offensive.
goofing. And yeah,
Yeah.
it is offensive. It is 100%. Yes.
It's unreal living with him sometimes, but the creepy clown music I've been hearing, which I know we're gonna hear in this campaign, I could live without. At least I could live without it at 11 o'clock at night when I'm sitting outside on my back porch and I hear. Mhm. Yeah, it's not fun. I
Mhm.
I do assume I'm being murdered that day.
That's
So
that's awesome. I love that for
yeah,
you.
yeah, it's I mean, look, it is the life I chose. I did get with a man who is known for on the internet for being a cannibal.
Yeah.
So, did I make my own choices? Yes. Let me preface, the man that I love likes to go on the internet and make very weird videos about horror things and cannibalism, and one of them, he did decide to post the week he met my mother, and I thought that was a
Oh,
very bold choice, but it is
that's a bold
choices he
choice.
made. Yeah,
Yeah.
she loves him, it's all good, they're friends, so we made it.
Yeah, they have dinner together.
Well, my stepmom was the one who was arm wrestling him over the dinner table, so, you
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. He makes friends
Sick.
way too quickly.
Mhm.
It's great, that's what I
Yeah.
love about him.
Me and him have that in common. We both are the kind of people who the only people who we're not friends with are people we don't know yet. Yeah.
I have to say that that is so true for you, and I know that's true in the limited time I've known you, because I've watched you play such a perfect pair with Gabby that you would be convinced you guys have been actual friends for years in the way you
Yeah.
2 play together. Like, selfless doesn't begin to include the way you 2 play, and it's so cool to watch people who I know don't know each other very well be able to give that way. It's
Mhm.
so cool.
I love that. That actually brings up a good talking point if you don't
Yeah,
mind me chasing
no,
it a little bit.
I love it.
Um, Whenever you say that I am a good Dungeons and Dragons player, that has a lot of connotations. I would like to point out you can do a shit game and you can just not be good at combat and not be good at skills. But if you know how to tell a story with the character that you have created, people want you at their table. That
Yes.
is all you have to be able to do. I made a character that is a possum that throws stinky cheese at people, and everyone wants to have me there because the story that I have developed between him and Gabby and between him and his own personal stuff, which we just dipped into in the
Yeah,
last episode. You guys should watch it. And those things are what make D&D worth playing.
yeah.
Telling a story, being a part of other people's story, being inclusive. Don't be overbearing, and you'll have a good time.
Well, so, yes, I think that you are fabulous at it because this is a funny story about Gabby that you don't know, is that when we first started playing Dungeons& and Dragons, Gabby was you the first time you played Dungeons& and Dragons. This is fun for other people. Like, my
Yeah.
friends think this is a really cool thing. I am a normie. I'm a nerd in my own way kind of person. So she came in raw dogging it, right? Like, she had never seen a crit roll episode. She had never, like, once rolled a die. Like, this is completely brand new to her. And I will never forget walking in with her. And Wes had told us, one of the things you have to do is become a team. And so my character just had met her character through this crazy, we got stuck in like a groundhog situation where we're replaying the same day over and over again and we're trapped in the
I
city.
love Groundhog Day.
It was so
Love
much
that.
fun. And at the end, mind you, this whole Groundhog Day is a love story between a man named Wallaby and a woman who had died. And he had loved her so much, and she was in a terrible situation, and he just wanted to be with her, and she was going to leave to be with him. And it was a love story from my partner to me as a way to be sweet and like intro me to D&D in a campaign for him. So
That's
we had just
adorable.
yes, right? So sweet. And I don't know why, but Poke got it in her head that Wallaby had lied to her because he didn't tell her that he had been in love with a woman and she had died. And given her all of the backstory information she would have needed to solve this puzzle the first time she had asked him, and she tried to set his tavern on fire.
Nice.
And then so I'm like, oh, this is chaos incarnate. But she's stumbling her way through learning D&D, and so I'm like, we give her grace. We'll figure it out. And then we're on the road, and it's like episode 2, and she goes, "Tell me everything about yourself." And I went, "Excuse me?" And she goes, "I want to know why you're traveling, what you're doing, and why are you here?" And I was like, "I don't know you." Woo, that's heavy for a person who don't know you. Like, I'm like, "Hi, I'm Adbear."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you say? Like, I don't know.
You're who?
So we got to talk about this.
You were Adver?
I am Adbear.
Huh.
Adbear is a real person, and that's the reason why I started to throw things while we were watching last episode. So can you? I know I'm not trying to reveal anything that you haven't already told the group or that has been told on your behalf, but can you tell
Right.
me who Adbear is to you, and then I'll tell you who she is to me.
My character, Terry, is out here trying to save a Fey woman
Hmm.
that has this ash sickness.
Yeah,
And that is all anyone knows yet.
yeah. And then Sup went
And
into a back room trying to help Terry, and then they found out additional information, including the woman's name.
well, Actually, she hit me with the Uno reverse. I don't know if you remember this, but
Well, because
Terry
y'all were
was trying to get
oh, so can
yeah.
we just, like, talk about that moment? Because I feel like that again, talking about how fabulous y'all are as a team,
Yeah.
selfless does not begin to include, because you both had, in that moment, very driving reasons to want to have answers. You both had been
Yes, very.
very much prominent in the story and given a lot of things that you need to discuss, and I'm not gonna lie, when you walked in there, I had sat on the ground as a panther because I was like, "I don't need things, and Terry needs to know if he's an author or not." And I really didn't think about the fact that you probably had other reasons to go in there and talk and have motivations.
Yeah.
So I Fenna was just chillaxing on the floor, and then Remy was in the little screen throwing things because, yeah, finding out that the ash is still real and it can still affect people is terrifying the crap out of me. Finding out that Adbear is alive is terrifying the crap out of me. Knowing she's here on this world terrifies me because when we
Uh,
last left her, that was not where she was.
because of because of how the story is progressing and what I expect to happen in the next episode, I don't want to say anything else about Advair. No one has gotten a name of this character yet that I am out here to help. I have only told you only found out the Advair thing because you said you were Advair and I could not hide my surprise.
No, because it was said in the episode. Wes said Adbear.
Oh, did he?
Yes,
I
yes.
thought he just
No,
said
it's canon.
Fey Lady with the sickness.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said Adbear because
Oh yeah, you're right. Because the dude said Advair has this, and
yes.
you were
So if
like,
you I don't know if you watched, I was literally throwing things in my box
I
because
always watch your reactions, 100%.
yeah, learning that you know how to read my lips is funny because I am
Yeah.
constantly talking. I talk through our entire
Yeah.
episode. I'm in panic. But I've never been more in panic than I was last episode. So yeah, Rogers, just so you know who Adver is to me. Adver is my main comfort character. She was my monk. She's a half, or she's an elf. She was 120 something years old when I left her. She is a former cultist. She was grown up in a cult, a all female women's empowerment group. And she was living up on the mountain with all of her women folk. Um, when her sister got infected with the ash. And so she went on a quest to go save her sister. And all of a sudden, when I started hearing things like, your sister has it, your sister had it, I was like, that's weird. We're talking about the ash. The ash is gone. As far as I'm aware, I thought we defeated it when we defeated Jargon and Mother Melanier. So now I'm very afraid because the ash is a terrible sickness that I hope no one dies of, but no one more than Adbear, because she is my child. She is my baby. She's the one of the little things that runs around in my world, in my life, and I can't imagine if you killed her. So you have to go save her because Fenna doesn't know who she is.
Well, Terry is on the job.
Yeah. So we're in a whole different world ish. We only get to know per continent where we are. And that was the same as it was last campaign. So now the hypothesis from the old crew is that maybe we're on a different continent. But
Could very
just
well
so
be.
you know, Roger, we made gods last campaign. So some people might meet their god, which is them as a god.
That's tough. I
It's
like
gonna
that
be
a
weird.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to pull in things from last campaign. I thought that he was gonna leave that be and have that be its own story. So
Yeah,
now
the
we're all
cameo
terrified.
appearances has been fun.
Yes.
The cameo appearances, everybody's excitement over seeing like this guy or that guy have been fun. Um,
Were you confused
this
when we all started panicking about Captain Frank?
n- no, I assumed that it was something from a previous campaign, so I was just kind of along for a ride. That's whenever I start like watching other people's profile pictures, like as we're in there, and I'll start looking at other people's boxes to see how they're reacting. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool, this is fun, and
This
then
means something to them.
you'll yeah, because of my auditory processing stuff, I have a hard time hearing people, so that's why I read lips.
Me
It gives me
too.
something to focus on while we're having a conversation, so it makes it to where I can focus better. It's basically my ADD. My hearing is fine. It's just my specific
Audio
brand of
processing
ADD
is
that
wrong.
causes
Yes,
that.
I have the same
Yeah.
issue. I read with subtitles. Wes has gotten used to
Yep.
having everything in subtitle because it's not that I'm not
Same.
hearing it, I'm not processing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I learned how to read lips. That's the reason why I can do that, which makes games like this, where I can see everybody's faces, very fun.
Wes purposely makes Gabby play for that reason. I think that if Gabby tried to give up D&D, he would pull her back to the table because she is one of our famous emoters, and her face when she's going is fabulous. I love playing with
Mhm,
people who are screaming while they're playing because like then you care. And you're getting as weird with it as I am, and
mhm.
that's a reason why I love it when I look over at you and you're laughing your ass off, and I'm like, and then you look at me and I'm like, oh, I know he's looking at me because I'm screaming and he's reading my lips
Uh-huh.
right now as I'm going, no, which is what I
Yep.
was doing all episode last episode. And
100%, that is what happens. Yep.
yeah. Um, well, I feel like we have to talk about Terry Trashcan, the noted author.
Yes.
So
So am
obviously,
I allowed to do background blurbs without, like, spoiling the story and stuff? Like, how much am I allowed to tell you?
oh, okay. So what you don't want the world to know about Terry, keep private. But if there's stuff that like inspired your character creation or fun facts that you don't feel like are required to be like a secret surprise, like we can talk about whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm not here to pressure like
Yeah.
secrets out of you. Um, but like I do find it fun to talk about like where you get things and if there are like fun little things that like you're hinting at with Terry that you like want other people to see. Talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. So Terry came to be because I was told that I was playing in a D&D campaign with Wes. And then I messaged you all and I said, "What is needed?" Because I've played everything and I can make anything fun. That's totally within my wheelhouse. So I can do whatever I want. And then you guys said, "No, play whatever's fun." I was like, "Okay, that's unhelpful." So
Yeah.
I gave up a voting poll for three options. One of them was just a little guy, which is what ended up getting picked. There were a couple other characters that I had in there that I'm not going to mention now because we might do them like later on, like if we do another campaign or whatever. But just a little guy was picked. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Possums are just little guys. And here we are. That was literally it.
So I have to say for the thought process behind it, there was one that was vaguely more serious toned, and then there was one that I think that was like more cautious, if I remember. And as a player who
Yeah.
had known our people, um, I know the thing that we generally lack is a little bit of comedic relief and a little bit of like the pause between the serious because what I love about a lot of our people is they take this very seriously, but then we have a lot of very serious conversations, which is very
Yeah,
good
yeah.
for D&D,
But
but
it's
also
exhausting.
it's exhausting.
It's
It's
yeah,
also
it's
not
a
as
lot
fun
'cause
to watch. Like if you're watching someone play D&D, it's not as fun if there's not some kind of comedic blip.
yeah, my all of my characters have that kind of comedic levity that they bring to it. So the characters that I was thinking about bringing, one was Tegan, which is a rogue that I've played before. He's a goblin rogue, and he's kind of like this little mafioso, like scumbag. And I love him so much. He's so much fun. Because whenever you're playing him, he's just like unapologetically a dick, and that
Okay.
is like my favorite thing ever. Like it's so much fun to play him. And another one was another guy that I'd come up with. I can't remember what I named him, but it's always the same concept. He's like this prissy boy, rich kid who is getting out of his castle for the first time. Like he doesn't know anything about the real world. He's been handed everything by servants and rich parents his entire life. And he's just out here trying to make it in a world that is haunting and scary and real. So
Mhm.
he is a coward and he grows like his character growth through the campaign is what makes him so fun to play because he goes from being this little rich kid, piece of shit kid, to turning into like a person that you want to have around.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that character growth throughout the storyline is just so much fun to play and to be a part of and to witness. And he's a really fun one to play too.
Yeah.
And then we settled on just a little guy,
Just a little
which I
guy.
haven't gotten to do in a very long time. So I was very pleased with that decision.
I think that just a little guy has been fabulous because I think that it worked really well to mesh you in with Gabby, and I think that's good for Gabby because Gabby tends to get wary pretty quickly, and she's more of a stop person. So her being with a go person, I think is great for her. The thing she said about you, which I love, is that Roger is a yes person, and she wants to be more of a yes and person in her D&D life. And she goes sitting next to Roger, playing with him, and he's so ready, makes me ready to do that. And I was like, fabulous. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
she's
thank her for that.
she oh, we only have glowing things to say about you, Roger. Like, I don't get to know you very well
Oh,
personally yet,
oh,
but having sat next to a D&D table, I know you're a very genuinely kind person, but you're also just so aware in ways that I think is incredible for a veteran D&D player because you could have easily gone in there, taken the spotlight, and it just be about you, and, like, everyone would let you because you've played and you know, and you're
yeah,
ready to
yeah,
take the lead, and that is not who Terry is. Terry is always there helping us get in the right direction. Terry is emotionally putting us in the right space. Watching Terry with the puppet master trying to constantly mend the cogs and saying, "It's my fault," was a great way to spotlight your character and what they care about, but in such a way that it wasn't about you. It was still about
right.
your relationship with Sup.
It is really important for players to realize that the more that you can lean on each other's stories, the more integrated they become. And the more integrated their stories become, the more you want to stay as a party. Like, yeah, we were brought here by Petey. Like, none of us knew each other before Petey, except for me
Right.
and Sup, because I happened to find Sup. But none of us knew each other. And there has to be a reason for us to stick around as this is going on. We have to care about each other at the end. And the only way that that's going to happen is if you start leaning into each other's storyline. Ask people about the stuff that they don't want to be asked about. Watch them get tense about it.
Yeah.
Keep bringing it up until they break down. Like that, it's not going to tell itself. You have to force the situation sometimes, but do it in a way that is considerate because you're in a party and you care.
Right.
That is what makes D&D really fun. Then you start getting into the storytelling aspect. It's not just number crunchy. You
No.
don't have to crunch numbers to play this game.
Ooh, God, especially in the games that we play, because we play such an RP heavy game. Like, the amount of times that
My
we pick up our
favorite.
die I know, me too. But I do know a variety of D&D people who I know people who play, like, the 80s style, like, their character could practically be a nobody because 'cause they're in there going to go grind a dungeon and go get loot,
Mhm.
and if they die, they die, a new person comes in, and the wheel spins, and I can't imagine playing that
Sounds
kind of
awful.
D&D.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds awful. That being said, I have been known to make punchy characters.
Yeah,
Like, actually, I'm playing a Star Wars 5e campaign, which is just a reskin of 5th edition.
that's so cool.
I'm playing that with a couple friends of mine because I am a huge Star Wars nerd. And the character that I'm playing in there is very martially capable. Like that's his whole
Mhm.
shtick is that he's a Sith trained warrior. And whenever I go out and about, I am very much so that guy. It's a totally night and day from Terry
No
to this dude.
kidding.
And he's very serious and stern, and he's kind of a smartass, and he's so full of himself. And I love every ounce of vitriol that I pour into this character. And as we're walking around and doing these things, I'm still telling a story.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can definitely fight. Like he is an incredible damage dealer, but that's not what I'm here for. That's
right.
just a secondary thing. I wanted to try to see if it worked, and it happened to work out. Just focus on the story. I can't beat that to death enough.
And focus on Team Glue. I think the thing that you are
Yeah.
so good at is last campaign, we had a moment where I had to sit down and have the talk with myself about what is really keeping us all together other than the fact that we all want to sit down on a Sunday and play D&D. Like, what is keeping the characters together, not just the people at the table? And I challenged myself to be better at grabbing people for one-on-ones and grabbing people for that 5-second conversation to check in and see how they're doing and have a moment where we're talking. Because if we're going to be RP heavy, I need to make sure we're holding the glue together.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
watched you come in, and it wasn't even like I have to remind myself to do that. And for you, it's fluid. Like I've seen you check in with pretty much everybody on our team at some point. Terry's probably gone up and talked to them or had a valid reason of why you're explaining he's not in the right headspace to do that. And you're talking it out with the crew. So that way they know that you're out of RP for what reason. And I love that.
Yeah.
That's good playing.
Also, a lot of people have a hard time doing voices, so I'm not going to beat that to death. But I really like doing voices. I think that it's an important part of the character, especially with somebody like Terry, who's just supposed to be a little goofball.
Hmm.
But not only that, but it makes a really thick drawn line between when I'm being Roger and when I'm being
Hmm.
Terry.
Hmm.
And it makes it to where I don't have to discuss, well, Terry would do this. I'll be like, yeah, I'm about that. Let's do it. It makes it's so much more the storytelling value. It's so much more involved. So if you have the ability to get past the cringe of your first couple voices, because my God, do they be cringy,
Oh, yeah.
it adds value. It's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, the glue I think is probably the most important thing that I see new players miss out on.
Hmm.
If you don't make yourself understand why those people are out there and make them give a fuck about your character, then they're just not going to. And
Right.
then why are they there?
Yeah. The voices thing, I was talking to Mal about it last week, and we talked about it putting on the hat, right? Like it puts you in the moment, in the sphere of putting on the hat. Now, mind you, I know two voices. Adver's voice was, well, it was kind of just the ditzy idiot. So she just kind of talked a little like that. And then I have Fenna's voice, which is just Southern. Um,
Yeah.
those are my two only voices, but I have challenged myself to only speak in Fenna character because I do notice that it's easier for me to react and stay in the moment of who she is when I'm doing that. Almost to the point where
Sure.
when I'm leaving the room, I then can't undo it, and then there's a southern idiot just walking around in my house.
I
Because
mean, I haven't been to your house, so
I am also the southern idiot, but yes.
yeah, you're from where again?
Oh, so I'm from North Carolina, and then I
North Carolina.
lived in Mississippi and Tennessee for like 6-ish years. So,
Neat.
yeah,
Yeah,
me and the ex, we moved up to Colorado kind of on a whim, and then I just never left.
yeah.
Yep.
I've been to Colorado once. It was a good trip. I liked it a lot. But I've been in Kentucky most of my life. We moved to Cincinnati for a few years, but we moved back home after we got jobs where we could work from home because I'm immune compromised.
Oh, ew, I'm sorry. That
Yeah,
sucks.
so no, it's all right. It is what it is. It ain't no big deal. But it means that working from home, I'm a lot safer.
Yeah,
So I try to get jobs where I can work from home, and then this is my office, surrounded by all of my nerdy things.
I love that. I work in property management, so I definitely do not work from home, but I get work from home days. And being here, like I'm gonna do this tomorrow and be able to be in my house with all my stuff is just so much better. Those days are the best.
Nice.
What else do I need
But
to
yeah,
ask you for this recording that I there's a question I ask everybody. What is the one piece of advice you'd give a new Dungeons and Dragons player who wants to join their first campaign?
um, the first bit of advice I give to people is that if you're not with the right people, you're not going to have a good time. The people make the party, and the party makes the story. So if you're surrounded by assholes, you're gonna have a bad time. No, just go out and hang out with your friends. And if you ever look at your friends and you're like, man, so there was a Vine that came out forever ago because I'm old, and Vines were a thing back in the day. Back whenever we carved those things on steel tablets and sent them out into the world. Uh, he said, I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends, and
Oh my
all the
gosh.
time.
I
I love
haven't thought
that.
that in years.
I use
Yes.
it all the time. Yeah, if you can look at a group of people and say, I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends, those are the motherfuckers you need to be
Yep.
playing this game with.
Yep.
It's so good, and you can take it seriously. I don't advise that for your first one. For your first one, just have fun. Just go out there and be goofballs and try dumb stuff and have a good time. definitely eventually get into a serious game because it's like next level
It is.
finishing that campaign. But be goofballs, man. Just go out, have fun, and make sure that you're with the right people when you do it, and you'll have a blast.
I think that's good advice because if you're not serious in your first campaign, that's probably good because you don't know the rules. Like
Yeah.
so Slank was one of my first DMs. Slank went and he DM'd my one shot for us when Shamey was my DM, and I
Oh, Slankster.
yeah Slank yeah
Oh,
um
hey.
yeah. So I did a one shot with him with my party, and one of the first things I did was put everybody, including my entire party, to sleep. Just immediately knocked them out with sleep because I didn't know
Yep.
that sleep affected everybody in the room, including the people that you care about. Nope, I just
Yep.
thought
Sure does.
sleep. And so I was an elf, so I was the only one standing in a room of sleeping people. And my DM was Slake just looked at me and goes, "Yeah, shit has consequences, doesn't it?" And I was like, and mind you, like I don't know Slake very well, but that was exactly something that he would say. Yep, yep, that's something that
Yeah.
yep, just this is how we roll. Figure it out.
So I was Slankster's first DM, and
Really?
yeah, so he sat at my table first, and me and him kind of built a repertoire there. And now I go to he's the one that I play Star Wars 5e with. He's one of
Yeah.
them. He's not the DM, it's another guy,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's at that table.
I love Slake.
Um,
He's fun to play
oh
with.
yeah,
He's very off the cuff, very funny. He ran the all seasons one shot for us for Christmas, where like you Santa's the bad guy and you're trying to kill Santa. He's got
he
good sense
did
of humor.
a he did a Menzo Berenzin one shot for a buddy of mine's bachelor party,
That's
and it was
fabulous.
like it was 14 hours, a 14-hour one shot, and it to this day it's the best time that I've ever had at a table. Like it
I
was the story we actually finished it. The whole one
oh
shot happened in one whole day, and it was good. And the storyline was incredible. What we did was incredible. Everything was well thought out. And we got to the end, and you really were like, "Fuck yeah, man!
yeah
That was awesome." Facts. Yeah,
yeah.
no, it was awesome. I loved it. Slankster's great. One of my closest friends here, and definitely somebody who I will always make room for at my table if I go to DMing again, which I haven't
Well,
done in a very long time. I was forever DM for like 5 years, and after I got back from Cincinnati, I was like, I'm a player. I don't want to. I don't want to do all that anymore, and I haven't gotten back into it since.
well, if you ever decide to take up the mantle, I do know a player who would be dying to play in your campaign because Wesley is so afraid that he is now permanently in forever DM world and that no one's going to let him be a player anymore, that he already knows exactly who he'd play if you were just gave him even a shot. He's very excited to be a player one day.
I mean, maybe sometime I'll plan out like a mini campaign. Nothing lengthy though. I just can't take on more right now, but I could definitely do a mini campaign or something.
Wesley would, I mean, even like just like a one shot, Wesley would be thrilled.
Well, so a mini campaign is like a 3 or 4 episode long thing, and then it's
Well,
done.
to be terribly honest, our one shots end up being 3 to 4 episodes because we're really bad at
Fair.
puzzles. We,
Yeah, yeah.
I, Roger, this is something you should know about the group. We are really bad at puzzles. So my monasteries used to be our puzzle rooms, and thank God they were short in one episode each because we the choices we made were fantastical. Every time we went into a puzzle, it was just pure chaos. One point he dropped us in a room that was pitch black. As soon as he says dark vision doesn't work here, we all panicked. No one thought bring out a torch, magic lights, nothing like that. I think
Uh-huh.
Alyssa ran straight into a wall. Just straight. Yeah, we all lost our shit every single time a puzzle. So I hope you're good at puzzles because if you are, you're going to have to be the team leader because we're not surviving them.
I made a high int character for this campaign because I was told that sometimes you guys get stuck by
I
uh
am so glad he
puzzles.
warned you because we're really bad at puzzles. I think the anxiety takes over and then all sense of thought goes away. But then again,
Yeah, those are the best though. Those are the ones where your players are like actually. So one of my favorite campaigns that I ran, there was a moment where the boss fight kind of started halfway,
mhm,
and then the boss leaves the room, and is no longer there, but the
Mhm.
room is filling up from the bottom to the top with acid.
Okay, okay.
And
Yeah.
as the levels are rising, they have to make their way back up, and there's different things getting in their way and different situations coming up that impede them in some way. And I can remember the panic in my players' eyes. They were like, "Oh man!" I'm like, "If you guys fall into that acid, it
You're done.
will kill you.
You're
Yeah,
done.
gonna it's gonna be real bad if somebody doesn't have a way to get you out. You are probably gonna die."
Oh god.
And
Our
the
anxiety.
the panic was real. It was one of my favorite little moments as a DM. And then at the top, some really heavy RP stuff went down that I won't get into. But
Ooh.
watching everybody's jaw just drop, and I was like, I'm gonna be a DM forever. That's what sold it for me.
Yeah, I love those moments in D&D where it's very funny because this happens a lot where we're so intense and then Wes will ask Gabby to roll and Gabby goes, "I can't." And I'm like, "You can't play Dungeons and Dragons." Like in this moment, like she panics because she's like, "No, you can't make me roll things in this game where you roll things to find out answers to things."
Yeah.
Because then I know like we're in it because she's like in that moment, I think we all have the collective feeling of one failed roll and we're all fucked because we played in a game of gods and we're very used to it being one person literally put something together with duct tape and we all hope we survive. Let's hope some of those gods are dead. If they're real and active in our world,
We're in
let's hope
danger.
they're dead. Yeah, let's see. I mean, obviously we have some friends. We have Cal. Cal is a god. Tilly's a god. Daresh is a god. So Gabby, Mal, and I mean, obviously Cal. And then Niram is my god. He's the god of death, and he's fantastic. Um,
Love that.
yeah, I wanted spooky, scary daddy, Skeledaddy, and so Wes left him just for me. And then there's gods who actively hate us. We may have put two gods of the end in a bag. This is Chris's fault. He put them into
That
the
sounds
bag.
about like having Chris at the table. Yeah.
Well, okay, so first there was a god killer in a bag, and we let that loose. But then we had a bag that was a prison. So then we ended up in front of the god of the end, and then he summoned his god of the end. So then there was two gods of the end in the room, and if they started fighting, the end starts. So then he just popped them both in the bag. So that's if we're in the same world, that bag still exists in some plane. He did hide it very well. It is in some astro plane or something of that nature. He took Advair along, but she really didn't understand what was happening. She just took a lot of damage from it, permanent damage. So
Dang.
if we find a suitcase, we shouldn't open it. I'll say that for free.
That's player knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. If he ever
Oh,
lets,
that was another thing that happened in the last campaign, in the last episode that we had. Caldrian had mentioned like, "Hey, you should ask this,"
yeah,
and it was outside of my like. I had planned on asking something around that, not exactly the way he worded it, but basically the same thing, and we would have gotten the answer.
hmm
But because he asked it, I didn't do it.
you can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and
this is his
I don't know if
first.
that's a rule that you guys have, but that was a rule that I had at my table.
I love that rule because Cal, Alyssa, and Gabby last campaign was their first ever campaign, so they had never played D&D before. So
They're doing wonderfully.
yeah,
I'm
I
having a
know.
great
I
time
mean,
with them.
seriously though, like the impressive, they picked it up and they've run with it. But there are some things that we still have to remind Cal and people that metagaming is a thing because you have to remember what your character knows and what you know are separate and not equal.
And that is how that rule came to be. It
hmm
was our first ever campaign. We had the three separate sessions where somebody had table talked, and
Mm,
some big stuff happened because they table talked. And I said, "Hey, so fair warning, that is what's called." I'm
metagaming.
about to jump back in. Yeah, that's called metagaming, and that makes it to where you're not able to like I don't know. You're taking away from the story, so let's try not to do that. And then the second time I said, metagaming. What does the player know versus what does the character know? So we call that player knowledge versus character knowledge. They have to be separate.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 my bad." And then they still do the thing.
Right.
I'm like, "Okay, I'll let it go." And then the third time it happened, I said, "Hmm, real quick, that thing that he just said, which you may or may not have planned to do anyway, you can now not do."
Right.
Everybody at the table went quiet because, like, this is probably, I call them episodes. I always do that. Whenever we sit down at the table, that's episode one, whatever.
Perfect, 'cause that's how we
So,
label ours too.
yeah, yeah. So we were probably 7 episodes in to our first campaign, and the last 3 had that happen, and I warned them a couple times. Like, I
Mhm.
was being friendly about it, but they were getting better, and the only way to push them from better to good
Is to
was
stop
to
it, yeah.
start implementing repercussions.
Mhm.
And I was like, "There you go. You can't say it now. You will never know the answer to that question unless you find out." And everybody went, "Oh, shit."
Mhm.
It was a big moment, and it really worked out well for the table, and I don't use it as a punishment.
No.
I don't want it to be a punishment. I don't want people to feel bad whenever they do that, but I do want them to respect other people's time in the limelight, and that's what it's for.
It it realigns you with character agency because when
Yes.
it's your moment to have a thought, it should be your own, and it should be true to what your character would do, and whenever you get outside information, that can change it. Now, mind you, there are gonna be some times in the world of D&D where you may be approaching an encounter and you might prepare in advance some ideas of things that you guys as a crew may want to do just to prepare like a thought. But once you get in to actual playing, it really should be about what you think your character and what your character alone knows, thinks, and will say and do, because that's going to make you feel more confident the next time you have to talk as your character. And I think that people think they're being helpful in that moment. In reality, it's
It I don't
misguided.
wanna say I don't wanna say that it's not helpful because obviously it is,
Right.
yeah. They're giving you an idea that you may not have thought of, but, like, those are cool, funny, interesting moments, like those big forehead slap, "Oh, I can't believe I didn't remember to
Hmm.
do that." That's real. That's
Hmm.
a real thing that real people do, and that's what makes a story feel realistic. Live in that moment. It's so much fun. It's way better storytelling to go ahead and let that banana peel trip you up. It's a comedic value, and even if it's not, it's like it's more realistic. I like it.
I think that's something that we are working on as a team is letting letting there be room for failure. I think
Oh
that
yeah,
because we're playing with so many new people and it's such a new feeling concept when you play a game of Dungeons and Dragons, you tend to have the wanting to win mentality. I want to win the game. There is no winning, there is simply the game. And it's a collaborative storytelling game for a reason because you and the DM are playing versus what's fun and beautiful and like those big powerful moments when you win, but also those moments where you trip up and you lose are just as important to that story, if not more so, because cool
yes,
things happen when you fail. And I think
yeah.
that we're learning that as new players, especially the newer players are learning that now coming in, having played a game, but it's something that we still struggle with losing. I think we're not used to losing. We played a game where we became gods. Losing is not comfortable.
My first campaign, I had a character. Still one of my favorite moments in D&D. I think about it all the time. I was the dungeon master for this game. I called it my Angels campaign. There was a bunch of different angels that were involved. It's crazy. Whatever. We get to this point where one of the characters has been bitten. He's been bitten by a vampire, and the rules state that after X amount of days and sleeping under the earth, you turn.
Hmm.
Like, there's no save.
Right.
You have to
It is
go
what it is.
and yeah, you have to go and take like a cure disease thing before those requirements are met. Otherwise, it just happens.
Hmm.
And at the end of the session, I was like, "Hey, man, remember you've been bit." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And the next time we got together, it was like a week or two later, and the character had this effect on him, but the player did not remember.
Mhm.
And it had been 3 days. It had been 3 days in game.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, is there anything anybody else wants to do? And that character specifically said, yeah, I'd actually like to go and set up like a fallback point in the basement down here because it's got like a tunnel leading out
Mhm.
and we can all retreat that way. And I'll just crash down here to make sure that nobody comes in through that tunnel. And I was like, okay, not a problem. And we kind of move on. And I'm like, okay, has everybody crashed for the night? And they're all like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I said, cool. Um, Player number four, I don't want to say names here. Player number four, you've been bit. It's been 3 days and you're now sleeping underground.
So you're a vampire now.
He went, oh, no. And that just I took his character sheet. Like
Mhm.
I gave him the opportunity. Like the characters all tried to roll to like fix it and like cure disease and then just a flat roll, like percentiles to see what happened.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, I gave the players the opportunity, like, hey, if this is too real and I'm taking like too much agency from this character, we can do this back. We can run this back and make it to where he's able to save out of it. He just got lucky. It's our first campaign, so I don't want to go too hard. But this is a really cool storyline
Right.
moment that you guys are going to miss out on if you take that opportunity. And they all were like, the storyline's going to be too good. We will take the L on this one. And everyone agreeing that that moment sucks, but
Right.
what's going to come from it is going to be really interesting. That is what I mean whenever I say let your players lose. It
Mhm.
is so cool. He ended up having like a split personality situation from a concussion he had gotten in his backstory that he only told me about. And he turned into a character named Help. But before he had taken that head trauma that turned him into this person, Help, he was known as another name, and he was a butcher. Like he was a bad guy, like an intrinsically bad person. And because he was bit by a vampire, one of the things that happens whenever you're, turn into a vampire is that they heal themselves automatically.
Mhm.
So his head injury was healed,
Oh, and so
and
he's
he
just back to
turned
the butcher.
back into the butcher, and he was not
Oh,
Help
that's so
any longer.
cool.
It was a crazy moment, and it just totally flipped the script on this character, that a beloved character in the
Yeah.
campaign, and it was all because they allowed themselves the opportunity to fail and have real repercussions. It would have never happened had they
I
chickened
love
out.
that. I love that. We watched Chris do that last campaign with the Good Wizard May because, again, you were here. So, quick recap for you and all the folks at home. Um, May was Thresh's brother, and they were twins from the Feywilds. And they both killed their parents and were on the run. And he was a rogue. I don't know. We didn't play very long with May as May the rogue, so I'm not quite sure. Um, but he went in with a totally different, with a story with a sister, and we kind of expected that to be the thing that plays out. And then when he got that suitcase, the crazy god killer, his name was Kaleo Floridax, he somehow convinced him to give him his hat. And he's like, I really want your wizard's hat. And Wes was like, you want the hat? And he's like, I want the hat. So he made him roll for it. And as soon as he put the hat on, May was no longer May, and May was the good wizard May. And he took on
Mm,
the same visage of Kaleo Floridax, which was young during the night, or sorry, young during the day and then old at night. And
I
he
love that.
completely flipped his character because he's like, I am now the good wizard May. And we're like, he's still like, had siblings and stuff like that, but all of his wants and needs changed because he had a whole different powers and a whole different
A
backstory. So
different
Wes
person, a
loves
different
throwing.
personality.
That's why
Yeah.
when he was like, you're an author now, you looked at him and went, okay. And I was like, man, you grabbed that one quick. You weren't even hesitating with that. Oh, did I lose you?
Certain things that Wes knows that I'll just be like, yeah, all right. And I'll roll with it because he needs it to happen. And I know that he won't take that agency from me unless he needs it to happen. So
Yeah.
I'll allow it. But
Hmm.
in this case, I was supposed to pick up on the fact that Terry didn't know that. And that was something I was like, oh, yeah, oh, definitely an author. Yeah, for sure. And he was like, "No, no, no, you don't know that you've ever written a book. This is the first you're hearing of it." I'm like, "Oh, that's something he should probably know."
Yeah, yeah, I think I would have noticed if I had written a couple books.
Yeah.
Now up to 2 books, I think we're at 2. The last book was not
Um,
yours.
yeah, the last book was not mine, so we've got 2.
So we knew about Terry Trashkin, the author, before we went into the paranoia.
The Paranoia.
So or the church where we all started singing and are now in a transient state.
Yeah, some kind of yeah. I like referring to it as the Paranoia, but I hadn't called it that before.
It just feels right.
I
That's what
liked
it
it.
gives me
Yeah.
as paranoia because I found out that if we had looked at our hands, the tattoos would have been gone because we were not in we were in some kind of meditative state. But the
That
players
makes
didn't get
sense.
to know that as we were going along because nobody looked down at their hands. We're not hand checkers. That's what I
Yeah,
learned.
we're not hand checkers. Yeah, Terry
Which is
hasn't
really
done
bad
either.
when there's the no what do we believe that is? Do you have an idea of what the marks are?
Um, so I don't know. I think that it's a way of. Hmm, I don't want to say too awful much on what I think it is because it might be silly. But at the end of the day, I think it's a way to show that you've gone past a certain threshold, and once you get past that threshold, it's just a matter of time till you turn. But
Yeah,
there's going to be something that happens in between. So, like, I believe, I believe one of us did have the mark on the
Tatterbury.
wrong side, Tatterbury.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my little raccoon. He
I
does
was
have it.
fully, I was fully expecting him to come back animated dead.
I am concerned. I am
Yeah.
concerned. I did. I have left myself open for a little bit of a find familiar situation if I ever really decided that I want him to be something more than just a stuffed animal. But I had Bo last game, and that was traumatizing. And I learned to never give Wes an animal that you care about.
Mhm.
Because we included our dog Max, whose nickname is Bo. He was in my campaign because I put him on my mini, and once I put him on the mini, then he was real, and he had to be a part of my
Mm,
backstory. So he
naturally.
was, and he ended up being my father in dog form. He was trying to save
Hmm.
me from being killed, and so he was my dog protector. And I cried more over that silly little dog in the campaign than anybody else because he tried to lay down his life for me multiple times, and that was very distressing. So
Mhm.
I learned to not give him things that are sentient because I thought he could hurt them with me. And so then I thought stuffed animal can't hurt me with a stuffed animal, and I think he still will. He still will. I'm
Yeah,
good.
he still will. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's his job.
I gave him enough weird shit about Fenna to make him have glee in his eyes when he talks about her. So that's concerning.
I love that your name is Finna because every time Terry's got some kind of idea, he says like, "I'm finna do this," you know.
Yeah, I love the dynamic between Fenna and Terry because Fenna so desperately wants Terry to be her friend. She
Yeah,
so desperately wants it.
and he's not like once he gets to know her a little bit, he won't be against that. But right now, you showed up with a stuffed cousin, basically,
Yeah,
and that's not a good start.
no, fair. I totally believe that. And who Tatterbury is to her, I know I keep saying like he did this to himself, but she does
Mhm,
truly believe that. So she just wants to pet you really bad.
mhm.
She just thinks you're really adorable, and then you walk around with an automaton, which
Automaton.
because we're not allowed to ever say that right, or we will lose inspiration according to the DM. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting because I love right now that they don't get along, but I love that I know that they eventually will because
Yeah.
I don't think forever Terry's gonna believe that Fennec's gonna stuff him, but I do understand the
No, no,
concern.
I doubt
She
that.
is a
Yeah.
crazy person who is talking about hearing voices in her head, so I do understand being terrified of her.
Yeah, there is some hesitancy that comes with, psychosis.
Look, people come at character creation in lots of different ways. You just kind of have a library and you're just pick through your library till you find what you want. I go to therapy and I sit there and I think, what's the thing I really need to probably discuss with the therapist? And that becomes my character creation. And for Fenna, well, for Fenna and Adbear, I felt like I was going for an overarching theme of not feeling normal or fitting in. And so I made them to the extreme of that. And so I think Fenna's even scarier than Adbear, which is telling.
I love that. I think that's super fun.
Yeah, I enjoy
I
it.
I also like whenever. So there's a couple ways to go about it. I'm a very social butterfly. I honestly, if I spend too much time at home without seeing people, I'll get depressed. Like that's how I recharge my batteries is with people and life around me. Um, that being said, I have in the past played characters that were quite reserved,
Hmm.
and it's because I want people to shine or something like that. But obviously, that's not where I shine. I've just done it because it was a necessity. But doing that presented a lot of interesting situations for me. So I would almost recommend occasionally that people try to play something that's a little outside of their comfort zone to push the boundaries of what they're capable of doing and what they're comfortable with. And even if they don't end up doing it well and they can't stick with it, they tried it. Maybe just trying something new can sometimes stretch those legs a little bit.
I agree. I think that it's allowing yourself to come from a place of vulnerability because when you're vulnerable, you're honest. And when you're playing in that mindset of, I'm willing to be uncomfortable in this moment, you're playing better because there is a point where you just have to go, I don't care if I sound stupid and my favorite thing in the world is soup. That is what my character will stand by. It makes for good storytelling, but it also allows people around you to play better because when you're being vulnerable, everyone around you will. Even if you're being the
Yeah,
dumb,
yeah.
stupid character who's being a little silly, weird guy.
Yeah, I 100% I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's great. Also, the reveal that we got of Fish's character
Oh my god,
and
I are you excited as excited
wonderful.
as I am? I part of me is like, this is part of the delusion, the paranoia, the dream state we're living in,
Yeah,
and part of me is hoping we're not because
I
that's good
love it
storytelling.
so much. It's such good story writing. As soon as that reveal happened, I went, "Wes, you evil bastard! I love it,
He's
love
he's
it."
he made a point. He said, he wanted to push us this game and he wanted to make us even more uncomfortable. And he was like, but that really does require a good yes from people. Like, you do have to really just say, okay, like, I'm going out the window. I'm doing this thing. Like, I see the hook and I'm going to take it. And in that moment, I was like, so worried because I was just like, oh, we're so not good at taking hooks. Like, what's going to happen? And I watched her just fly out that window. And then I watched the moment when he said, and Alexi comes around the corner and it's her on a dead killing a human being.
Mhm.
And I watched Mal's face just go.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because
I'm like,
she had no
oh,
idea.
yeah, that's perfect. It's because then you care. You're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
what the fuck have I been doing? And I love those moments in D&D where you get to look at your people and you're like, that's your moment, queen. You're taking
Mhm.
it. And he
It's
did a good job with that.
it's one of those moments where it goes from happening to you to happening with you. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And in this case, it switched from him just telling her story to him telling her what her story is. That was such a crazy swap out.
Yeah. I think everyone played that so well. I'm so excited to see where that goes. I'm terrified to see where that goes. I I almost want to believe larceny is doing this to fuck with her head, but what is larceny? Is larceny
Yeah.
I'm
Has
so excited.
larceny ever been? Has the mouse larceny ever been a thing, or has
Always just been her like
always just
impulse.
been murdering people?
I
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
I
Well,
love that.
hopefully we will know.
Love that.
I don't think we're gonna
Yeah.
know next episode. I think he's gonna tease that one out for a while. I think he was sad that even Alexi brought it up to Fish the first time. I think he really wants to drag this one out. So,
Yeah.
are we gonna be on Fish Night Patrol? I don't even think that'd work. I think he's still gonna sneak her out the window.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll
I
see.
love that so much. Also, another thing that he did that I'm really appreciative of because I try to incorporate it into my campaigns. Instead of taking player agency, you present a situation where they don't have a choice, and where they both went behind the curtain. He was like, "You cannot help," and then told another one,
Yep.
"You have to help."
Yep.
That's not removing player agency. That's totally different.
Mhm.
But it was intrinsically like there's nothing they're going to be able to do about that
Right.
whenever the moment comes.
It is what
And
it is.
who knows what that moment will be.
Because my first interview I ever did for this was with Wes, and the first thing I said was, "How do you feel about railroading your characters?" And he says, "Everyone can tell me that it's a bad thing, and I'm gonna do it anyways, because at some point you kind of do need people to agree along with the story." But in that moment, it wasn't railroading. He asked them, "Do you want a secret or do you want a promise?" And I think our team knew the cooler answer was gonna be a promise.
Mhm.
And I loved that we didn't need to be railroaded into making that choice. People playing at the table know now that they can just shake the DM's hand and something cool is coming. And you don't need to know what it is. And Cal's probably sitting over there freaking the fuck out, wondering what he is gonna ask people and what they're gonna deny him. I wonder if it matters who does what because sup
If I may
can't help.
present to you some additional existential crisis,
Ooh,
um,
yes.
do you think that it was his situation coming up because he asked to tell a secret instead of a promise?
Ooh.
He's the only one that did it. And then the other two were told not to help him or that they have to help him afterwards.
I That's so interesting. So above table, I am always interested in the way that Wes hooks Cal. The person, not like the player, not the character.
Okay.
Because those two have a very cool dynamic. Last game, it was Steve. Steve was an axe. Steve is a god killing axe. And Steve talks. Only to Cal, but Steve talks. And it made for very cool moments because he totally bought in. Like everyone who plays D&D knows not to talk to the talking weapon, right? Like everyone's like that's the dumb
Yeah.
thing to do. But
Yeah.
Cal jumped right in. He was just like, "This is my axe. His name is Steve, and I'm talking to him." And it made for some of the coolest moments during the campaign was with Steve because every time we were in front of a god, Steve's whispering in Cal's ear, going, just kill the motherfucker. Just like let me have his head. Let me just go and have his head. And he's just like, I'm thinking about it, Steve. And he would do crazy things because Steve told him to. So I think
Yeah.
he knows that Cal is very much a yes person. So I'm wondering what that yes will be because he knows no matter what it is, Cal's going for it.
He's
But
gonna latch
that's the
onto it. Yeah.
reason why when we all saw the axe, everyone in the game was like, Cal, go, 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 because we thought it was Steve.
I noticed that everybody was pretty excited whenever the axe showed up.
We thought it was Steve. We thought that maybe Steve had come back to him. And we're like, that doesn't make sense. Like a bard can't really play with the same kind of axe a paladin plays with, but we got so excited it might be Steve. So then he like ran over to it, and then all of a sudden we're back in Mothman hell.
Uh, that was phenomenal for me.
Heart stopping. Heart stopping. Because I'd almost
I
forgotten
loved it.
that that was a possibility until it happened.
I don't know if you remember better than I did, but I don't remember him saying that the rest of us saw that.
No, only Cal. So the rest of us are still living in the delusion. And we
Yeah.
have to play as if we don't know we're in the
Yeah.
delusion.
Cal is the only one that saw the thing. I'm gonna keep referring to it as the paranoia. I like that a
I
lot.
like that paranoia.
Uh,
I'm good with the
yeah,
paranoia.
yeah,
I feel paranoid when I think about that song. And also, I don't
yeah.
know if it's happened to you, but it's starting to take over my TikTok.
The
That's
song?
terrifying. Yeah, the I Am Hungry song.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
a
I was singing it to my wife yesterday, like, trying to tell her what happened, and I was like, "Here's the song," and I sang it to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's absolutely scuffed. I hate that." And
It's
I was like, "Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah, it's awesome."
Yeah, I so when we heard it, I immediately knew. I was like, I've heard the song before. I know this. I know this shit." And I was like, I knew I had heard it a million times, and so I went on a search that night, and I found it on TikTok. And now because I searched it, it's in my search history, and so now it keeps coming up, and I'm like, I don't need to be terrorized outside of the game. I'm already terrorized inside of the game and in my own mind. I don't need you to add to it, TikTok, but it will continue to play the I Am Hungry song.
Well,
I have Do we
I
have
don't
any idea how we're gonna solve that problem? Because no.
I think that I think that whenever the DM is ready for us to attempt to solve that problem, a situation will arise.
Yeah.
That is how good DMing works. You string them along until you notice that they're getting anxious about it, like too anxious to continue,
Mhm.
and then you start giving them plot hooks. So right now we're in the stringing phase because I'm not tired yet. Are you?
No. No.
Yeah.
That's the problem is that I think you, me, and Gabby could probably spend 18 hours talking about D&D, and we probably would not run out of shit to say,
Mm.
and this campaign is only feeding that mania for me. But I also heard it's feeding the mania for your wife because I have heard that she also has had great investment in our game from what she's heard from it. Wes told me that she texted and she's like, "I fucking love that arc. That's a cool ass arc."
Yeah, she is the canonical wife of Terry Trashcan. She plays the character known as Terry's wife,
Aw, that's so cute.
and he accidentally said her name, and she got very upset because she wanted him to only refer to her as my wife, and
Aw.
everybody to be like, "Well, what's her name?" Be like, "My wife." What do you mean? And then just kind of mosey on off
Well,
and
it's
just
okay
make it a whole
because
thing.
we're all really bad at names, so if you ask us all next camp episode, we're probably not gonna remember what her name is, so I remember she's a
Good, good.
witch, but other than that, no. I hope one day that we get to have her sit down at the table, even just for, like, a little while, because I think that would be very cute.
She she would love the opportunity. We have a lot of people at this table already, which is the reason why she's not here
I
currently.
know.
And if there was ever an opportunity for her to join, I know that she would most likely chomp at the bit to get there. Hi, speak of the devil. Hi, honey. We're talking about you.
Hi.
Talking about you, not to you. Talking about how if the opportunity presented itself, you would love to, sit in on the game and be a part of it. But
But
right
like,
now,
I've got the vampire
yeah,
game, so like
she,
I would be.
she was like, "Well, if you get a game without me, I get a game without you." And she ran off to my friends and started playing Vampire the Masquerade campaign with them
Oh, well,
on the
that's
same day
fun.
that we stream. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I know that we have a very full table. Unfortunately, that's the thing about Wes is that he's so good at what he does that everyone loves being at his table. But I know that she also had come up with a little character, so I would love to just like have a little, at least a baby cameo, just to see what Terry Trashcan's wife's like.
yep, that would be awesome, and she's ready for that any old time if the situation does present itself. So
Oh, well, perfect. Well,
maybe we'll see.
I don't want to hold you for the rest of the night, but Roger, I have to say thank you so much for not only joining our campaign, but for sitting down with me today. I know you and I have not broached the realm of real friendship outside of the world of the Dungeons and the Dragons, but
Yeah,
I truly value you at the table, and I think that knowing you are one of Wes's closest friends, I hope to better get to know you as a person. And I really appreciate you spending the time doing that with me today. So thank
yeah,
you.
no, absolutely, and also like whenever you're doing things outside of the game, shoot me an invite. I'll
You
definitely
know,
hang
we
out.
and Heather.
I'm thrilled to be yeah, and Heather. She's my better half in every way. Um, that being said, I am thrilled to be at the table with Wes again. I haven't gotten to experience his DMing firsthand. This is my first venture into that. It is exactly what I was hoping it would be, and I'm having a blast.
Good, I'm glad. Well, then I will see you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
Bye.